Very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the uLaw's onboarding session. I welcome everyone who's joined me for today's session, someone who's exploring the uLaw software, is going through the 30-day trial, and really wants to get familiar with how to get started, some of the key aspects of how to maneuver within the product, and really what to expect out of the uLaw solution as a legal professional that's looking to explore it. Okay? So I want to take maybe the first couple of minutes just to get you a little bit more familiar with uLawPractice, the product itself, its purpose, and what we offer legal professionals across Canada through our product and services. So uLawPractice, we're a Canadian practice management and, more importantly, a legal accounting and a business accounting software. So we offer in a single product these three important components that a legal professional would appreciate as part of running their day-to-day business. Okay, so really our claim to fame, if you will, is the ability for us to produce compliant documentation that allows you to be compliant both from a law society's perspective, but also from a CRA's perspective of providing your taxes, your corporate taxes, your jurisdictional taxes, whether that's HST, GST, PST, etc. Okay, so really through the single platform, through a practice management window, we allow and provide legal professionals complete control over their practice and their business operations. Right? Very important that to keep in mind that we're just not a legal accounting software, we're also a business accounting software that allows you to manage your office expenses, your salaries, payroll, etc. Right? Now, truly in terms of what we understood was an issue, and it still is an issue with many aspects of how the legal industry and the business is being run, the challenges faced by the legal professionals. On one side, you have the importance and the need for legal professionals to, manage their clients, their customer base, if you will, ensure that at the same time that you're, having a profitable business that you can be proud of and continue to manage and grow. And at the same time, be compliant with the guidelines that are imposed by the law societies of your appropriate provinces. Okay, and the main aspects where assistance is being required is around managing clients, most importantly managing the accounting and the financial reporting, and third most important is ensuring that as you deliver the service and as you continue to run your operations, you produce and are always compliant with the law society's guidelines. Okay, so the ledgers and journals and the documents that you are required to produce and present during an audit. So that's when we realized if that is really the issue, how can we at uLawPractice provide a simple solution, a singular point of view of delivering the value proposition for both of these major aspects. Okay, so not only do we allow you to automate and drive value running your business, but we also allow you to generate one-click reporting, financial documentation, and law society compliance all within a single platform. Okay, so this is truly what you should expect from the uLaw experience as a product that empowers a legal professional in Canada to accept data as you enter it into the system, and as a thank you, us being able to provide you with the reporting, both for CRA's perspective as well as from a law society's perspective. Okay. So with that kind of setting up the expectation and a bit of a introduction, if you will, to uLaw, the company, and really what we offer as a solution, let me jump right into the product itself. Again, automated legal accounting, one-click docketing, disbursements, invoicement. You can do all of that within the uLaw system itself, and then we empower you as whether you're a sole practitioner or whether you are a small to medium-sized law firm with actionable analytical platform that gives you the analytics to make informed decisions about your business. Okay? So if you've just signed up for a 30-day trial and you're looking to just get started, obviously as part of your 30-day trial package, uLawPractice, we would have created for you your own username and password. You have 30 days to go through this, and hopefully you like the experience and you like the product, and we reach out to you at the end of the 30 days to see if we've done well to earn your business. If we've done well, fantastic. You continue to use the product, and it's completely seamless. You don't lose any data. For whatever reason, you don't continue using it and you don't actually plan to purchase it, we still give you 30 days to migrate all of the data that you may put in our system, after which we delete your trial account. Okay? So fairly simple. We do not hold you hostage to your data, and we really want to earn your business and make sure that it's a meaningful journey for you with us. Okay? So I'm actually logged into a fictitious playground account, okay, for a legal professional, Mr. Roger Moore. And I'm going to take simple steps in the next 15 to 20 minutes to walk you through a simple client intake. Let's create a matter for that particular client and walk through the process of entering a retainer, docketing, dispersing, generating invoices, doing trust transfers. These are steps that you have to take as you run your business, and then walk you through how documentation is a breeze and what you should really expect out of that experience. Okay? Now I welcome everyone to use the chat window to ask any questions that you may have at any given time. Okay, if you want me to tailor it a little bit more to your style of business, if there's a certain area of practice that you'd like me to focus on, kindly use the chat window and do provide us your feedback there. Now the first screen that you see here is what we call the dashboard. It's really your landing page. It allows you to maneuver within the product, get yourself comfortable, and navigate to certain aspects of the product easily and in a very fast manner. For a quick example, if you want to jump into this particular client, Mr. Henry Ford, you can go ahead and click on Henry Ford as the name, and uLaw would allow you to refresh the screen and take you to the Henry Ford contact. Okay, so this is really working at the contact level, and you can see the menu option has changed to the contact itself. Okay, same thing applies to any recently modified matters. So let's say this was over a long weekend, or if you're coming out of a weekend and you really want to get back to those matters that you're most recently working on, the slip and fall matter, for example, again, you can click on it, and the same experience as you expected from the contact, you should expect it from the matters too, where now we're going to refresh the screen and we're going to show you that particular slip and fall matter for this particular client. Okay? Now, one of my favorite, and I've been doing this for many years now, and what I see as a great value for our clients is this one particular feature of the dashboard, okay, and that is called the invoice pending matters. So as you go through your daily routine of, adding clients, creating matters, and accepting retainers, docketing, and many times our legal clients stop with docketing, and we wanted to provide them a simple reminder of motivating them to go that one next step to make their money, which is to generate a formal document, and that's called the invoice. So through this little dashboard widget called Invoice Pending Matters, we're reminding our clients of all the matters for which you've docketed or dispersed, and you're eligible to raise or generate an invoice, and you haven't done it yet. So through this reminder, you can go ahead, click on Flip and Fall. It takes you right in the same matter. It tells you within the matter as well that the status of this matter is invoice pending. So what would be a very straightforward next step would be to go ahead and generate that invoice. Okay? Because once you do generate that invoice, it's one less item to deal with. Okay? So that's really the dashboard. It's a fast and easy way for you to maneuver within the system, navigate within the system, and get to where you need to get to. Okay, so through generating an invoice, which is under our document generation button right under the matter, this gives you the flexibility, right? Let's say you go ahead and let's just do a really quick invoicing for this client. I'm going to skip the preview. We'll get to this in a second. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and generate an invoice. And you're going to notice that the dashboard element of invoice pending matters is going to disappear because you've actually generated the invoice, right? That's why you got here. You've taken that right step to generate that invoice, and you want to move forward after that. Okay. So as soon as we generate the invoice by clicking on the download button, what happens is a PDF document of that particular invoice gets generated. So let me go ahead and click on the download button. Right away, you're going to notice that a PDF version of this invoice is downloaded to either your local computer, or you could use this and store it in the cloud as well. So we give you both options to either store a digital document that you generate out of uLaw in your local repository or store this in the cloud. And here's a quick example of an invoice that accounts for all the dockets in it, right? And look at the amount of docket that's gone through this for a total of $861. Notice that the status has changed from pending invoice to no pending invoice. And if I go back to my dashboard, I'm going to see this line item from slip and fall disappear because it's going to take that off that particular checklist. And there you go. Okay? All right. Now let's start a brand new client. Let's intake that client and go through that process. It's something that you would actually you would entail doing as soon as you start to sign up for the account, really to get acquainted with how you would continue to use it, right? So as a first step, let me jump into our contacts menu option. So we have 7 menu options in uLaw, like 7 days of the week, starting from the dashboard up to the analytics. And from just a menu, a user interface perspective, there are 2 common buttons that you would find right across the product. Anytime you want to take an action on a particular screen, you would use the green color action button. At any given time, if you want to generate a document pertaining to that particular menu option or screen, you would use the document generation. Now, if you go into our matters, you're going to notice that we have the same 2 buttons that are the prominent buttons for you that you would end up using most of the time. Okay, so you have the action button right here, same green color action button, and you have the document generation button. Now, obviously the actions under that or the options that you have would vary based on whether it's under contacts or matter or otherwise, but these are 2 common buttons that we would like for you to get familiar with, and this is a common process as part of our onboarding session, is get you to be familiar with what you should expect and how you would enter data into the system, right? At the end of the day, any system or any product, that's all we're looking to get out of you, is for you to provide us the details of what really has happened in your life with regards to either a client or whether that's regarding your office or business, right? So going back to my contacts, let me start off by doing a simple client intake. I'm going to go in and click on the Add New Contact button. And I'm going to say I want to add a contact, because you could come across many different types of contacts when you're dealing with your legal business, right? Contacts could be your clients. This could be any other parties involved in a particular matter. Could be the opposing party. Could be the representative of the opposing party, right? Depending on the style of practice. If it's a criminal matter, you may actually have to deal with, police officers. If it's a accident benefit, you may have to deal with parties such as the insurance underwriters. You may have to deal with any witnesses. So there's many different types of contacts that you may encounter as a legal business, and we give you the opportunity to store all those relationships fundamentally as a contact, and then I'll show you how you can relate these contacts within a matter as parties. Okay, so let me just go ahead and start with add to clients as my client intake, and I'm going to say Mr. Nerdy Roadster. Not a great name, but I'm just going to go ahead and give a little nickname. We have a little source of contact information where you can basically go in and tell us how did you get to know, or how did Mr. Nerdy Roadster get to know you as the legal professional. Okay? You could basically say it was through a website. This was alphabetically arranged. You could say this was word of mouth. Okay? And in the street name, let's go ahead and say this was 90 Water Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And you can always mark the address as a home or work. And we do ask that you mark one of the addresses as a mailing address, okay? Because this is the mailing address in uLaw becomes part of your correspondence address that gets put in invoices and all documentation, as well as it gets used for automated court forms for some status of practice in Ontario. You could put in a phone number. uLaw does have a native app both on your Android and your Apple platform, and you can pretty much use this as your legal phone book, if you will, right from the uLaw app. I guess you could just go today, search for uLawPractice, one word, and download the uLaw app. Use your same credentials that you use to, dial in or log in into the web browser system and access the same information. Okay? So we've taken the first step of doing a fast and simple client intake. Okay? So whether this person called your office, or whether this person walked into your office, or if you met them at court. And the beauty of it is you can actually do the same client intake right from your uLaw app. You don't even need the browser. You can do a quick client intake with just high-level information right from your app, and then you can always add to it at a later time. Okay? So now you're going to see Nerdy Roadster as the client that we just saved in our database. It has the high-level information for whatever we entered. If you have to edit this, you can go ahead and click on this edit button right here. And let's say you have this job title. You can add that. Or if you, for whatever reason, this was their home address, you can change that. And by clicking save, that information gets saved back into the database. Okay? So it's as simple as that to intake a client as well as edit any information for any saved contact information within uLaw. Okay? Now, as a logical next step, what the Law Society requires you to do before you even create a client file or a matter is really understand if there are any conflicts associated with representing this Nerdy Roadster. This could be where Nerdy may have been another party in a different matter that you may have already dealt with. Okay? So in uLaw, again, as part of the action, we have this conflict screening feature. So you can click on that. We ask, do you want to check for all matters across your database? Do you even want to go to the extent of checking dockets if you've dealt with a conversation and this name came up? Then you can start to run that report. And because this is a playground account, obviously it's going to take a little bit of time for us to scan through the entire set of dockets, matters, and there's thousands of files. It shouldn't take long. But the beauty of the cloud is at the same time as this runs in the background, let me show you a few other documents or reports that you can generate that are very pragmatic in nature for this contact. For example, you could generate simple envelopes or envelopes. Okay? Now here's a quick and easy envelope. This could have your logo on it. Here's Mr. Nerdy Notester, and here's Mr. Nerdy's mailing address. Okay. You could generate labels, include your phone number or your fax number, and this is very much in compliance with the Avery label printers that you may purchase at Walmart or Staples. Okay? And you can go ahead and print this, and obviously you can print as many as you like. Okay? Another interesting report that I'd like to draw your attention to is under our compliance. So as part of every document generation menu option, uLaw now provides you with this compliance panel and walks through each and every expected compliance document at every given stage of your practice management or your legal life cycle. Okay? So within a client management component or life cycle, here are the expected Law Society compliance documents. And an important document I'll draw your attention to is the source of contact. Let's just click that, and let's say for the month of March, I want to understand where are my source of contacts coming from, right? Is it what marketing is really working, and I'm getting, consistent repeat customers from this particular marketing source or source of contact. And here's a quick report that tells you that for the month of March, 40% of your clients have said that they came through a family referral. The word of, where we did the client intake for this contact, for Nerdy, and we said the word of mouth was the source of contact. That is the piece of information that we're drawing in this report. Right at client intake, we ask you for it. Now, in certain cases, you may have clients or contacts that really can't tell where they got to know you. Maybe they can come back at a later time. We capture that too. We tell you, so here's all the different categories, the total count. So you have about 6, 8, and about 12 clients so far this month. And here are a couple of clients, like Henry Ford, that we really didn't know where the source of contact was from. Now let's say Henry called you. You can actually use our search. Type in the name you like, whether that's Henry Ford, or you can type in Ford, okay? And this allows you to search, and if there are multiple Henry Fords, you can choose the one specific to that case, and you can see the source of contact was not available. You can add to it right away, and once again, hit the save button. Now this information is going to go back into the engine, and now the next time you generate that same report of source of contact for that particular month, you're going to see the percentage improve and that particular line item of Henry Ford disappear. Okay? And the reason why I'm kind of going really deep into showing you this is the nature of the product that you should expect. As you enter data, the report engine that runs behind it captures the updated data every minute, every second as you change it, and presents to you the most latest and greatest information. Okay, so that really is what you should expect, whether that's reports that you generate from a contact perspective, matter perspective, or any accounting related perspective. Okay, so just to prove that point, let me quickly generate that report. You're going to see the family just went up from 40% to 45%. And in my list of not categorized contacts, I don't see Henry Ford anymore. Okay? And once again, please to use the chat window at any given time if you have any questions. And here is my conflict screening report. I totally forgot about it. Let me bring that up real quick just to give you an idea of how this works. Of course, for that particular name, we don't have a single conflict so far. We haven't really come across someone by the name Nerdy Roadster. So this is fantastic, right? So, and the good thing about it is it's also date stamped. It tells you exactly the date that you generated this report. Okay, now let's move forward. I can go into my dashboard, and I'm going to see in the most recently modified contacts the name of Nerdy. So I can go ahead and click on that particular contact. It's going to take me right into that client information. Now, the next logical step, now that I've done all the precautionary steps for my client intake, is actually creating a file. Assuming Nerdy either wants to engage you moving forward, either retains you, or if you're not using trust and it's just a matter of doing an engagement, either ways, you have to create a file or a matter to represent that specific scope of work that you're representing this client for, right? So to create a file in uLaw, you would go ahead and click on this matter button, matter or the client. Now this opens up a brand new matter page. Okay, this is a fresh slate. There's a lot. So uLaw is really asking you for a couple of quick questions. One is, all right, please tell us a title that would allow you to simply resonate with this particular file. So you could say this is Nerdy versus John, slip and fall matter. Okay, or this could be Nerdy versus Crown. Really comes down to your style of practice, right? We have legal professionals, right, from small claims to criminal law, everything in between, from family to WSIB to acts and benefits, many different styles of practice, family, real estate, right? So it really comes down to what is this particular file about. So let's say this is a small claims matter, and I'm just going to go ahead and click on the save. That's all this information. One is the title for a simple matter name, and another is an area of practice, and there's a meaning for why we capture the area of practice at this stage as well, which I'll get to. And we spoke briefly about the analytical engine that uLaw provides, and one of the important aspects of that is to give you a great spread of where are you generating your revenue from, right? Initially, it's about the data entry. It's capturing the moment in uLaw. But at the end of the week, end of the month, or a quarter, you really want to, have a self-reflection, if you will, of how you're performing as a business. So for the same low cost, for a single price, uLaw offers you this analytical engine that gives you, the sole practitioner, the power of a large law firm. Okay? What a lot of business analysts put together through Excel sheets and pivot tables and fancy presentations, we give it to you at a click of a button for you to tell us, all right, if you as the sole practitioner want to know, what is my fee book looking like by category for this entire quarter, starting January till now, right? Really, where am I making my fees or my revenue? Click of a button, within less than 5 seconds, we tell you that for this particular quarter, let me just draw a pie chart, further expand it. So almost 31% of your files or the revenue that you've generated this quarter, the highest generated comes from small claims. The second highest comes from criminal law. The third comes from family, so on and so forth. Okay, so if you really want to know numbers, you can do that by just generating the details of it. Okay? You can see family was about 4,700. Small claims is about $8,000, close to $9,000. And you can compare this as well. That's the beauty of the analytical engine, is you can compare how you've done compared to last year or the specific month. So you can do whatever you like. Okay, so that really is why we capture the area of practice at the time of creating the file itself. Perfect. So you've done that. You've created a file, and uLaw gives you a Law Society compliant file number, which is a unique number that's cross-indexed, easily searchable, and something that you cannot repeat. Okay. Now, really, the next step is for you to sign a retainer agreement. So in uLaw, we have a lot of samples of retainer agreements or letters. So you could check them out under retainer letter, under document generation, because again, you're generating a document. Or you can go into our letters and look at further examples of any retainer samples. Hourly, contingency, there are certain really interesting retainer examples specific to even POA, right? if you had a flat rate, you could actually go into a retainer letter right here, and we even have a flat rate template. And the beauty of it is you can also generate this in MS Word that allows you to edit this as you feel fit. You can enter the expected retainer amount. Let's say this is a $500 flat fee plus a $100 disbursement with taxes. It's $565 plus a $100 disbursement. Let's assume you're accepting a $665 retainer. It gets embedded right into the document itself so that you can print this, tweak this, print this, and get it signed and wait for that money as a retainer to be accepted, right? The client gives you either a check or they may actually provide it to you through a credit card payment or a draft, whatever may be the mode of payment. The first step is signing that retainer agreement. Okay? So here's my retainer agreement, and you could see you could tweak this however you feel fit. Change from hour to my fee. Make those little tweaks. It has the flat fee that you've accepted as a retainer. And really the next step is now to capture the moment of each of the transactions that now start to occur in your business. So let's assume Mr. Nerdy presents you a check for $665 as a retainer to retain you as a legal professional to help him through this small claims matter. Okay? How do I capture that moment? How do I capture that transaction into uLaw? Now knowing that different individuals learn a system in their own individual ways, have, without making it too much of a stretch, have provided various different options for an individual to learn the system. Okay. Now, when in doubt, we ask that you click on the action button. So this is really the mother lode of anything that you can take as an action on this particular matter or file, right? So one of the first you can do is tell us that you did accept and deposit a new retainer. Now, you may have deposited in the bank or you may have not, and it could happen either ways. You can backdate these if you're just catching up and you're migrating from a different system, which many of our clients we help them with. You could actually backdate the entry of the retainer. You can choose the date. You can go back in time and tell us that this was something that you received on the 1st of Jan if you're just looking to catch up into the system. Okay? So that's one way of doing it. Or if you understand the trust general concept, you can just say, click on trust, deposit. This is the money that technically should go into your trust. So you're basically going to deposit into your trust. And there are only a few options of the type of money that you can deposit, and retainer is one such. So let's say for today's date, you've just accepted that $665, and this is through a method of payment of a certified check, or this could be just a regular check. A payment reference, just a check number. Okay. And in uLaw, when you set up your account or your trial account, we actually set up these placeholder accounts for you that you can easily match with your bank accounts, your real life bank accounts. This is really reflecting a real life bank account, assuming you're with TD. This particular legal professional is with TD, and that's what's being indicated. Okay. Now, if anyone else paid on behalf of Nerdy, you can put their name in, or you can leave it empty if Nerdy paid for it himself. Give Nerdy a receipt and hit apply. Okay, so that's how you've now captured that particular transaction into uLaw that you did receive at $665. So just really consider uLaw as your friend, really telling it what really happened so that we can capture the data and help you with giving you the outcome of why you captured that data, which is the ledgers and journals and everything else that you need to manage your books. Okay? So here's your retainer receipt that we give you. You can download it. electronically sign it if you have that with the PDF, or if you've purchased a DocuSign or an EchoSign application, you can electronically sign this, or you could do this the old school way of printing this and then physically signing it and scanning it back, right? Technically, you would get Nerdy to sign it as well if he is with you in the office, or send him the scanned copy for him to sign it, or give him an electronic signature pad. Whatever works best for the convenience of your firm, okay? All right. So now you're going to notice we accepted the retainer, and there it is, 665. So really the next step is to go ahead and start to docket the work that you're going to put in. Now, assuming this is a flat rate matter, let's start with that style for this particular onboarding session. Let's just say this is a flat rate. You can go ahead and use these events. So there are 7 different menu options. The first one is really the event, which is really a docket. Now, in uLaw, you could docket each and every event as a docket, or you could encapsulate a bunch of events as a single docket. So, for example, you could say small claims matter, and click on the description and basically say initial client intake, documents verified, court fee paid, printed, matter closed. Okay, so you could basically encapsulate the entire life cycle of what happened in this particular matter into a single docket and toggle this to be a flat rate and put in the $500 of your flat rate that you would be charging. Okay, so uLaw would then take the $500 plus the $65 off the $565. Right? Now the $100 we had assumed to be, a disbursement, and let's assume it was a court fee. And you can see we started to get some dashboard projected balances. We've got the 665 as a trust receipt. We've got the 565 that was just docketed as a flat rate billable, and then tells you that technically if you were to generate an invoice now, that's what the amount would be left in your trust account for this particular matter. Okay? Now this is one style. The other style of doing things is capturing the moment as and when it happens. If you don't like this, let's take the same set of items that have occurred in this particular matter, and let's assume they all occurred at different times. You can capture each and every docket as a single item and make the final item as a flat rate as well. So for example, you could say earlier today, you had the initial client intake. You can give a further description specific to just that docket. Right? You can add another event. At 10 a.m., you had the documents verified. Another event, so on and so forth, till you get to the final, where you say final closure, and now you convert this docket into a flat rate and put in that same $500. The only difference being, through this style, you're able to capture them individually, whereas in the first style, we captured all of them in a single docket and encapsulated them in a single docket. Now, interestingly enough, if you've put the docket, you can decide whether you want to bill for this docket individually or not. If it's a flat rate, typically you would not charge them by the docket, and hence you can just say that's the time, you're really not charging the time. Okay? Now, for purposes of time, let me continue to move forward with walking you through how you would quickly add a disbursement, and we've considered $100 as the court fee So let me show you how you can actually pay that disbursement or capture the moment of you having paid for a disbursement. Okay? So as the tab sounds, the disbursement's a retainer, or you can just use the action. And basically, depending on whether you're paying for it from your trust account or whether you're paying it from your general account, you can tell us how you're paying for it. So if you're paying for it from trust, you can go ahead and choose that. If you're paying it from general, you can tell us whether, if it's a cash payment, if it's paying for mileage or any unit rate, like a fax, right? Or if it's any third party. So I'm just going to go ahead and say it's from general, the first option. And actually go ahead and say court fee. I can always override a tax by saying it was tax exempt. And this is the part where we can even capture how you paid for it. So, Ministry of Finance. And let's assume you paid it off your general account and you paid a check. You put that information in. You can print that check from uLaw and you're going to hit save. So now you've captured the transaction of you having cut a check for $100 to be paid to the court as part of your court fee. Okay? So uLaw has captured 3 transactions. One is the initial 665 retainer. The second was you docketing the 565 of worth of the effort that you put into towards the file. And the third transaction is the $100 disbursement that you paid for a court fee. Now, the last couple of steps to finish this matter is to go ahead and generate that invoice. Okay, so we have this option called as a pre-bill, which is a harmless document. It allows you to, again, maneuver with the different themes we offer. You can mark this as paid. Now, the preview is for your eyes only, the owner of this firm or whoever is generating this invoice. It's not something that you want to share with your client yet. Okay? If you've made any mistakes or if you want to make some corrections, you can do so by just reviewing this preview document. Okay? So let's say you really don't want to show them what you charge them for the unit cost of it, right? You say, okay, right away, I don't like that. I don't like for my client to know what I charged them. Now, some legal professionals like for your clients to know, or their clients to know what they would technically charge them. But let's say you don't like that. You can go back and you could basically go back into events, make this into a flat rate 0. So new law, if you make a docket to be flat rate, we capture the dollar, and hence we don't share with the client what the billable rate is. If you put a billable times 0, then of course we'll capture the per hour rate. Okay, so let's see. So that's the idea of the previews. You can make those little subtle changes. But it's a running bill. It tells you that it's a court fee of $100. It tells you that you did receive a retainer of $665. No questions asked from your client, right? Really very particular and very straightforward. You can even put this little stamp, paid, sign this, send it to your client. So if you're happy with the preview, go back and hit a complete. So complete is the way of actually generating an invoice in uLaw, and you can use multiple other themes and choose the date when you're generating it, so you can even backdate this if you're bringing invoices from your previous files into it. And I'll generate and hit the green color invoice button. Okay, so these are just a set of series of initial steps that you would take as soon as you get started and onboarded with uLaw. Okay. This is just to give you a refresher or just a starter, or primer, if you will, of how to get started, what to expect within the product. And we do offer one-on-one sessions further to this for all of you who like to further explore the product, because we want you to make an informed decision when you purchase it. And even after you've bought the product, we continue to educate, provide you these one-on-one sessions and webinars on a weekly basis to continue for you to learn the product and maximize its use. Okay, so I've just generated the invoice. Now this is an actual invoice because it does have an invoice number. If you look at our preview, the preview does not generate an invoice number at all. Okay, whereas my invoice here in blue does generate an invoice number, does not have the preview watermark, and if you notice, it takes away the unit cost hover because I made this a flat rate 0 compared to my preview, which actually had the per hour cost. Okay, so there's a lot of varieties of how you can represent the data in the invoice. Perfect. So you really like this. You can assign this, email this, or print this and mail this, whatever is your style. We facilitate them all. And the last step for you as a legal professional to do, once you've generated that invoice, you've still not earned that money or moved that money into your pocket, right, into your general account. So the last step really is what we call as a trust transfer. So it's a pending trust transfer that needs to be moved for the eligible amount of $665. Okay. So in uLaw, you can go in and it's a movement from trust to general. So under action, it's a withdraw from trust, and hence it's called trust invoice payment transfer. Okay. If you see right under my withdraw from trust under the action button, I see the trust invoice payment transfer. Okay. Now you can either use that option, which brings up a little pop-up window that tells you the amount of money that you should transfer, eligible amount of $665. Choose the $565, choose the $100, remove it from the trust account. So I'll say check. A lot of the law firms today do an electronic fund transfer from one electronic bank account to another. If you're that person, you can do that. And specifically in Ontario, if you have done this electronic fund transfer, there's a Form 9A that needs to be filled out. We even pre-populate that information for you. Okay. Now with this, you're pretty much done with that particular matter. Of all the transactions that you've captured, and you've taken it from inception to closure in terms of financial transactions. So in our, further to this, I think we're going to be covering a few more webinars, and as I said, we'd love for you to schedule one-on-ones as well, where we can walk you through the accounting aspects of it. I'm going to walk you through simply to bring additional parties. Okay. The additional parties is the concept, as I said, of associating other types of contacts into this matter. Okay. So this is a small claims matter. And I'm basically going to associate John, assuming that these are the Johns that I've already stored in my database. The John Abraham as the defendant. Okay, let's assume that I'm representing the plaintiff. Now I've associated John Abraham as the defendant in this particular matter. And I could do so for the representative of the opponent. Let's assume that it's Gloria. Now once you've associated these parties into this matter, you can start to generate court forms right at a click of a button. Okay, and I'm going to stop with this for today's session. So I go under document generation, under this matter, and I choose the option of court forms. Okay, there you see it. And I've got the small claims court right there. And let's assume I'm going to do a simple plaintiff's claim. I could choose the courthouse that I represent, or I go to for my representation. Let me choose Ottawa, and I just hit download. Now what uLaw does is it picks all the pieces of information that you've given us through this life cycle, right from the client's name, Nerdy, to the associated additional parties, to your own information as the legal professional. It captures all that pieces of information, and it auto-populates the court forms, and we make sure that we update the templates as and when it changes. And here is the pre-populated plaintiff's claim, including the AKA names, and this is just a start. You can actually update this or edit this as you feel fit. Okay, it has the client's information, it has the representative's information, the defendant, as well as the defendant's representative information. Okay. And someone just quickly emailed me or chatted with me about this. So now, once you've completed with the matter, you've also done the court forms, really what you should expect as the key component of uLaw is the ability for you to go under accounts, under compliance, and really be able to generate these compliance documents at a click of a button, right from reconciliation up to generating ledgers. Okay, so let me just quickly show you what a trust ledger looks like. I'm going to generate it for the month of March, just so you know that it covers all clients that we've dealt with in this particular month. So let me choose the monthly option and hit download. And this gives me the trust ledger for the month of March. I'll also do my general. And if you can look at this trust ledger, this looks exactly the way that the Law Society expects it to be by each and every client, their outstanding trust balances. And let's choose our friend here, Mr. Nerdy Roadster. We've got the $665 through this check. That was this balance in trust. And then later we withdrew or did the trust transfer, $100 for the court fee and the $565 for the legal fee as part of this invoice, leaving a trust balance of 0. Now, you did not have to generate this. We generate this automatically for you, and the same thing applies to your general ledger as well. Okay? Now, all that information came from you just entering the data of the transactions as and when they occurred. So that's really the bottom line, and that's the relationship between how you use the product to give us the data and how we give these reports back to you based on the data that you've entered. So hopefully this was a quick Power Pack session of really what to expect when you get started with uLaw, right? What you should start to think about as you plan to manage your files. Please feel free to email us at any given time at support@uLawPractice.com. And we'd love to schedule one-on-one sessions if this group session was a good starter, but you want to get a little bit more deeper dive into your specific use cases. You could set up one-on-one session with our onboarding specialist as well. Okay? Once again, I want to thank everyone who joined me today. Have yourself a fantastic afternoon, and we look forward to working with you and hopefully serving you as our client. Thank you.